What's a celebrity that was once huge and now lives a completely normal life? Bill Watterson, creator of Calvin and Hobbes, refused to license his work out and retired when the comics were huge at 37. Walked away from potentially hundreds of millions because he thought it would jeopardize the integrity of his art through commercializing it. I think he's refused any public interview, and the only publicly available picture of him is from over 30 years ago. Lives in a modest neighborhood in Cleveland. The kid who played Charlie in the original Willy Wonka. He went on to be a veterinarian. Chunk from the Goonies became a lawyer. Queen's John Deacon. Lives quietly wherever. Has minimal contact with Queen, though they do run ideas by him as a courtesy. Newt from Aliens. Carrie Henn is a teacher. It was Rick Astley until we relentless trolled our teachers and friends with the Rick Roll circa 2006-ish. Cisco from the Thong Song lives in suburban Minnesota and goes about his business just like anyone else. The girl who played Harper on Wizards of Waverly Place is a RN now. Rick Moranis. The voice actor for the kid from Up is going through medical residency right now. I would say Jonathan Taylor Thomas. He was so big in the 90s. Now he's mostly, if not entirely, behind the scenes. Tom from MySpace, smiley face. Rick Moranis. From Wikipedia. In 1997, Moranis took a hiatus from working in the film industry. He later explained, "I'm a single parent and I just found that it was too difficult to manage to raise my kids and to do the traveling involved in making movies. So I took a little bit of a break." Mike Vitar. He played Benny in The Sandlot. He became a firefighter with LAFD. Eric Estrada, who played Officer Francis Llewellyn Poncherello on Cheap PS, became a real-life police officer in St. Anthony, Idaho. Bill Withers passed away in 2020, but he's the ultimate example of being on top and just dropping out and living his life. Meg White. Up until recently I would have said Ke Huy Quan. Happy for the guy as he always wanted to come back. He was never huge, but Beans from Even Stevens now works at my local mall. Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Tanya Harding. She now owns a landscaping business and has said she's really happy with it. Theo Cates. Eric Persillivan aka Dewey from Malcolm in the S pretty much left acting entirely and has no social media accounts. I like to think he's living a peaceful normal life. That girl from Matilda. Jeff Cohen. Played Chunk in Goonies. Now an entertainment lawyer, most recently responsible for helping Goonies co-star Ke Huy Quan with his role in Everything Everywhere All at Once. Molly Ringwald seems to lead a pretty normal life. I live in Tacoma, Washington, and she apparently has some friends or family out here because she'll visit from time to time. You'll just go to a restaurant and see Molly Ringwald very casually grabbing a bite and you're just like, oh hey, that's pretty cool, and that's that. Chad Muska is now a vegetable farmer a few hours outside of Cleveland. Julia Stiles. I feel like she was huge then sorta went away. I just looked her up and it seems like done some stuff here and there but nothing huge or notable, unfortunately. I don't know why, I thought she was pretty good. Mara Wilson. Steve Guttenberg. Stacy Keenan. Was on two big sitcoms in the 80s and 90s, charming, beautiful. Had amazing prospects. Then she dropped out of the business, went to law school, now she's a district attorney. I went bouldering yesterday and the girl who played Katie Bell in Harry Potter was working the reception. Found her ig and she is a rock climber, so it's probably more out of interest than anything else. Isn't Charlie Sheen just hanging out in Malibu and getting beat up by female home invaders? That guy who sang How Do I Talk to an Angel? I think he was on 90,210 and then was on a spin-off. I believe he's a firefighter now. Jake Ryan on 16 Candles. Almost everyone named is really recognizable to this day. My choice would be Shelley Duvall. She was once one of the most successful actors and now you wouldn't recognize her if she came up to you and asked for directions. Frankie Muniz. He wasn't huge since the movie was a flop, but the kid who played Charlie in the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory left Hollywood to become a veterinarian. Bridget Fonda, loved her then she disappeared. Last year Paps found her living a normal life, not looking she used to. They were brutal. Fuck the Paps. The actor who played heartthrob Jake Ryan in Pretty in Pink. He makes furniture now. ETA, it was 16 candles, I had my Molly Ringwald movies mixed up. Reminds me of an article I read about tabloid reactions to past stars' looks over time. If they undergo cosmetic procedures, they're unrecognizable. If they have not succumbed to vanity and have aged naturally, they're unrecognizable. There's no winning at this game. Michael Schofling. Eddie Haskell from Leave It to Beaver became a California highway patrolman. The girl that played Catwoman in Gotham, she has a smoothie business now, I think. Nikki Reed. Decided to farm with Ian Somerhalder. Jeffrey Owens worked at Trader Joe's. Greta Garbo was the biggest movie star in the world throughout the 30s. She made her last movie in 1941, at the age of 36. She then spent the next 50 years living alone in a New York apartment. She was known for taking daily walks around Manhattan, and Garbo spotting was a popular New York activity in the 60s, 70s and 80s. Lily Sobieski. Cameron Diaz. Raising her kid with one of the good Charlotte dudes and enjoying life. She made some awesome movies and great friendships. Content to live her life pretty quietly now. Kate Bush. Bridget Fonda. Maybe Liv Tyler. You never hear about her anymore. She lives in London, just being a regular mom and raising her kids. ITT people confusing, not as famous as they once were, with lives a completely normal life. Dennis Franz, who played a cop on Hill Street Blues and NYPD Blue, retired in 2005 and lives in western Idaho. He won tons of awards for those roles but deserves a Lifetime Grammy for his performance in the Dixie Chicks. Earl, winking face, watch it if you haven't already. Christy McNichol. Rick Moranis. His departure from the spotlight is honorable. Pam Anderson left the U.S. and moved back to her sleepy hometown on Vancouver Island. Pia Zadora. Connie Seleka. Nikki Blonsky from Hairspray. She was selling shoes and working as a hairstylist last I read. Any of the Brady kids? I think one of them works construction. The guy who played MacGyver. The young boy from Hook, I think he is a lawyer now. Armie Hammer. He was selling timeshares in the Caymans last I heard. Kim Wilde. Allison Lohman. Y'all remember Raekwon from Jackass TV? He's a chemist. He actually had his degree before the show. Whatever happened to Emilio Estevez? He used to be in movies, and now he's not in movies anymore. Andre 3000 from Outkast. He was arguably the greatest rapper in the world and gave up the fame to live a quiet private life. The guy literally does his laundry at a laundromat to stay grounded and so he can play his flute in the alley while his clothes dry. MC Hammer. Emmy Dolenz from She's Out of Control and Miracle Beach. My first girl crush. Daniel Day-Lewis. Isn't Maura Wilson from Matilda just a regular person now? The kid whom played Jack in Hook is a law professor. He was an adjunct at my schools while I was there, but I did not attend his class. Bridget Fonda. Gene Hackman. Cameron Diaz. Jennifer Stone, who played Harper in Wizards of Waverly Place, went on to become a nurse. Bobby Sherman was a huge teen heartthrob in the 70s, and then at the height of his career, he left it all behind to become a paramedic. Follow your heart, I guess, even if others find it weird. I wish Selma Blair all good things in her life. She's had a rough go of it and I adored her. Charlie Korsmo from Hook 1991. And what about Bob? He graduated with a degree in physics from MIT, worked at the EPA, got his Juris Doctor from Yale, became a lawyer and is now a corporate law and finance professor. And something about a nomination to something by Obama. President Jimmy Carter. He could have parlayed his prey gig into big bucks speaking and getting book deals. Instead, he just built houses for lower-income people. Never wavered from his core beliefs. As a former Navy submariner, I always admired how he always kept the values of our top-secret oath we took as submariners. Phyllis Smith from The Office was actually part of the casting team for the show originally. She moved out of LA several years ago, lives a completely normal life in Missouri now. Rudy Giuliani lives under a bridge or soon will. Enya lives in a tiny Irish village where she's just one of the locals. Pamela Anderson. Bridget Mendler kinda. Paul Wall the people's champ. Why is so much of this thread just people who don't know how to use IMDb? I haven't personally seen this actor in anything recently does not mean they've left acting to be a pharmacist or something. Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio. I loved her in all of her huge movies in the late 80s and early 90s. The Abyss, Scarface, Robin Hood Prince of Thieves, Color of Money Oscar nominated, and then I never heard from her again. And it looks like she didn't do much in the 90s. Did The Perfect Storm in 2000 and then had 2-3 multi-episode runs on TV series. And she's as beautiful today as she's ever been. I've always had a huge crush on her and apparently still very much do, smiley face. Not huge, but the drummer from Sum 41. He is now a realtor in Palm Springs. Rick Moranis, I assume. The kids from Jurassic Park. I know Joseph still does some acting, but he's very much out of the public eye. Last I saw, Ariana just likes painting. I mean, Jurassic Park, as if you're gonna get a better gig than that. Linda Fiorentino. I think her relationship with Anthony Pellicano ended her career. Taylor Dane. The heartthrob Jake in 16 Candles. He would have made it far like Anthony Michael Hall by looks alone. Lauren Tevis Julie from Love Boat became a cheesemonger in Seattle.